Each game takes about 10 to 15 minutes. That makes the book ideal for short sessions or when you just want a quick gaming break. Hey everyone, this is Attackers, and today I will be reviewing Dr. Finn's book of solo strategy and word games. A huge thanks to Steve Finn for providing me with this physical review copy. I'm looking forward to showing this to you. But before we get started, as usual, grab yourself a cup of tea and let's do this. Alright, here we go. Before diving in, just so you know, I have played all 8 games in this book. That means I'm familiar with how each one works, even if I've only had a single play of them so far. But before I get into details, in the future I might also do some playthrough videos of individual games from this book on my channel. So if that does sound interesting to you, make sure to let me know which game you're interested in. So this book is quite an interesting project by Dr. Finn. I've played some of his games before, Mining Colony, even on this channel, and this one is a collection of 8 solo roll and write games, all designed by him. Each of the 8 games comes with 8 sheets right inside the book. Essentially, it's like printing out 8 different roll and writes several times, but instead of juggling loose sheets, you have them bound together here. That's very convenient. What I really like is that you can just grab the book, a few dice, and a pen, and you're good to go. You can literally play anywhere. You don't have to print anything, you don't need a big box. You just need this thin book. That's a really cool idea. If I had one wish, it would be for the book to be a 5 size instead of a 4. That would make it even more portable, and it would then be truly perfect as a travel companion. But even in its current form, the portability is still a big plus. While the games are designed as solo experiences, you can also play them in multiplayer. Everyone just takes a sheet and compares scores at the end. It's a simple idea, but it works perfectly fine and adds flexibility to how you use the book. Another great thing about this collection is that all of the games can be played really quickly. Once you know the rules, and they're all easy to learn, each game takes about 10 to 15 minutes. That makes the book ideal for short sessions or when you just want a quick gaming break. A nice touch is also that you can collect all of your scores at the beginning of the book, as you can see here. That makes it easy to track your progress across the different games and see how you improve over time. One thing to know though is that these games seem to be quite tough when it comes to scoring. It's not easy to put up high numbers and you'll often feel like you could have done better. At least that's my impression after these first few games. That can be motivating, but it also adds a layer of challenge that you should be aware of. Now, let's take a look at the 8 games in this collection. Let's start with Cosmic Run Mission 1. This is a quick dice placement race where you are trying to reach planets here in the middle before an alien race or opponent does. Each planet requires different dice combination. A single die, a pair, 3 of a kind, or 4 of a kind. And on your turn, you must place at least 1 die, then re-roll the rest. Just like this, right? You place 1 and the rest you can re-roll. The alien moves forward between your turns at the top here based on a die roll. So there's a constant tension as you try to beat them coming from the bottom. You can also place dice into special powers here on the side, which either give you extra flexibility or points at the end if unused. The game has a lot of dice mitigation, which makes it feel fair, and it strikes a nice balance between push your luck and planning. It's simple, but very engaging. The next game on the list is Pen Pals. This is a completely different type of puzzle. Here you are drawing fences in order to enclose animals in a pen. Each die roll gives you a fence shape and you must place it without rotating or mirroring, which makes planning tricky. The interesting thing is 1 die is always for the column and the number counts, and 1 is for the row, but it only counts whether it's odd or even. The goal is to create sections that contain exactly 1 bucket and then fill it either with the same animal or different animals for points. Multiple buckets still score but less efficiently, while sections without buckets score nothing. We actually put in the buckets at the beginning of the game as part of the setup. This game is surprisingly tough and very thinky. Finding good placements is harder than it first looks. Still, it's a very satisfying spatial puzzle with a great theme, though often challenging to get a strong score in this one. The next game on the list is Word Rap. This is one of the 2 word-based games in this book. There's a grid of letters in the middle, as you can see right here, and you capture letters by rolling dice to draw polyomino-style shapes around them. You then place those letters into your own world-building area here at the bottom, trying to form high-value words with the freedom to arrange letters however you like. Bonuses and multipliers, as you can see here, reward clever placement. I enjoy this one a lot. It's very creative and there's a nice balance between tactical letter grabs and long-term word planning. It's more thinky at the start when you're trying to map out what words you might aim for, but it rewards that forward thinking quite a bit. Next on the list is the game My Perfect City. This is the city builder of the book. So each roll here determines which building cluster you add to your grid. And you can't rotate or mirror them unless you spend one of the limited powers that you can see here in the top right. Different building types score in thematic ways. Government buildings score when surrounded by different icons. Banks want a variety of icons in the same row or columns. Parks reward adjacency. Houses score in the chosen row and column. And apartments score on the edges. This is a clever and thematic game, but also quite a brain burner. You're constantly trying to balance placements for multiple scoring conditions. Definitely one of the more complex puzzles here and rewarding if you do like that challenge. Next up on the list is the game Leftover Letters. Another word game which is played in 3 phases. First, you fill a grid with letters right here. Then you cross out some of them, as you can see here. And finally, you use all the leftover letters to form words across these rows and columns. Double value spaces and double value bonuses for using all letters in a line or column add extra tension. The first 2 phases can feel a bit procedural. Lots of rolling and marking and crossing out. But the payoff comes in phase 3 when you finally get to form those words. That part is genuinely fun and satisfying, especially if you enjoy word puzzles. It's more involved and time consuming than some of the other games, but it has a nice payoff at the end. This is one I thoroughly enjoyed. Next up on the list is the little flower shop, open for business. This one is lighter and breezier. Each round you roll 4 dice, choose 3 of them in order to add items to your stock, then roll 2 dice to adjust market prices of said items, and finally you sell all of one type of item and put the sale right here. At the end of rounds 4 and 7 you also define custom orders, you can see at the bottom here, to fulfill by the game's end. The trick is managing when to sell and balancing short-term sales with long-term goals. It's very straightforward and plays quickly, but still has just enough decisions to keep it interesting. A nice change of pace compared to the heavier word and puzzle games, and also one of my favorites of the book. Next up on the list is the game Spell It Out, the last word game on this list. I think earlier I said 2 word games. Actually, there are 3 in this book. This time, this one is focused on filling a grid from letters chosen via dice rolls down here. Each turn you take letters from a row corresponding to your roll and place them into your grid up here. You can repeat like the same letters again. After 10 rounds, you score based on letter values and on multipliers. The rules are very simple, but the puzzle is tricky because once placed, the letters can't be rearranged or moved later. That forces careful planning and sometimes causes analysis paralysis. Still, for fans of Scrabble-like challenges, this is a solid and satisfying little design. I actually have another roll and write game, like a boxed roll and write game, that does something quite similar. Last but not least on the list is the game Crunch the Numbers. This is a number placement puzzle where you roll 3 dice each turn and assign 1 die to each of the 3 grids. Over 16 rounds, you try to complete rows and columns that demand different conditions, as you can see here. Like all the same number, all different numbers, staying under a threshold, or using only odd or even numbers. When you finish a row or column, you check whether you've met the condition to score points, and sometimes you can even unlock special abilities. I really like that there's a math-based game in the mix here. It feels different from the more wordy or puzzle-oriented ones. That said, this is probably my least favorite of the 8, because the overlapping conditions can feel restrictive and punishing and lead to a lot of analysis paralysis. Still, it rounds out the collection nicely and offers a fresh type of challenge, something that is very different to all the other games. All in all, I think Dr. Finn's book of solo strategy and word games is a very creative and varied collection. The 8 games cover a wide range: dice races, spatial puzzles, word games, city building, and number challenges, and each one feels distinct. Some of them are lighter and more relaxing, others are heavier and more thinky, so there's a good mix depending on what you're in the mood for. I especially like the portability. Just bring the book, some dice, and a pen, and you're ready to play. Scoring can be tough across the board, but that also gives the games some replay value, right? Especially since they're all the same sheet, essentially. Overall, it's a clever package and a nice option for solo gamers, especially if you enjoy variety in your roll and writes. And just as a reminder, in the future I might make some playthrough videos of these games on the channel if you want to, so let me know if you would actually like to see a specific one in action. Well, that concludes my review of Dr. Finn's book of solo strategy and word games. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and for sticking to the very end of the video. As usual, my thanks goes out to all of you. A special shout out to my generous patrons. The biggest thanks go out to Thagono for supporting me at the highest tier. I truly appreciate that. You can support me by watching, liking, and commenting on my videos, subscribing to my channel, supporting me on Patreon, and joining my Discord server to hang out with me and my amazing community. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the very next video or on my Discord server. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and cheers.